we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you a special presentation of
Two Nerds, a podcast. Your home for everything movies, music, video games, and everything in between. With your hosts, Buddy the Bruiser, and Dynamite Jarrod Latching.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Two Nerds, a podcast. We are two nerds. This is a podcast. I am Buddy the Bruiser.
You sounded like, for some reason, my TV is a Roku TV. And for some reason, every time I start a YouTube video on it, like the first second of the video is in like ×2 speed. Like
Really?
every time. So like it'll be like a YouTuber starting. It'll be like, how's it going, guys? And like I don't know. That's what you sounded like just now. I'm Dynamite Jarrod.
Good. I was getting confused. I didn't know who I was talking to. So glad you cleared that up. So Jarrod,
Special guest on the show this week, Dynamite Jarrod.
we've got ourselves a little bit of a problem. Well, not really. But I've discovered something.
Is it about our topic today?
No, it's not about our topic today, but our topic for the month.
Okay.
I have discovered...
That you've seen Junior.
No. By looking at my calendar app on my phone, January, in fact, has 5 Saturdays. Not 4.
Well, all this shit's been going on Sunday anyways.
Yeah, because we've been recording it. This will be the first episode that'll come out on time in a while.
Oh, act like you're fucking busy with the editing.
Hey, man, I gotta make a thumbnail. I mean, by the time we're done recording this, I'm like half asleep. Gotta fucking... Well, because these things, like when you put the thumbnail on it next to
Don't you have the thumbnails made?
Sometimes.
I swear to God, last week you were like, oh, it's on the thumbnail, don't you worry.
Oh, last week was pre-made. But this week, I don't know what we're gonna talk about besides End of Days, so who knows what could end up in the thumbnail.
Jesus Christ, buddy. Spoilers. Fucking hell.
Hey, everyone knows, man. It's the fucking end of the world and all that, so why not talk about Y2K? Here's a fucking conspiracy for you before we get started. An End of Days conspiracy.
Okay.
The film takes place in 99. There's some Y2K vibes going on.
I remember it well.
Arnold's name in the film is Jericho.
I think I made that connection in the shower earlier. That I was like, oh, Jericho, Y2K, oh.
But what does it mean?
But maybe I didn't make the connection. I don't know. That is a very, very good point.
It's a very strange coincidence, but I don't know what... I mean, it has nothing to do with anything, but it's just weird.
The movie came out in 99.
Yeah.
Right? Oh, man. Was Jericho saying Y2J in WCW before he came to...
I don't believe so. I think that's when he came to WWE.
Because of the Millennium Countdown.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's tough. Is Jericho a biblical name?
I think so.
Yeah, I don't know much about the Bible. That's just really weird. That's weird. That's a strange coinky-dink. I wonder if Chris Jericho's ever addressed it.
I don't know. It's a name.
We know you and him are huge, great friends. Shouted you out on the
close
live stream before.
Close personal friends, yeah.
Yeah, so maybe you could ask him about End of Days and if he was consulted,
or if they owe him any royalties.
Yeah.
So Jericho is famous in biblical history as the first town attacked by the Israelites after they crossed the Jordan River, whenever that is. So it is in the Bible. So,
Jericho, Jordan, Jehovah.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
A lot of J's. Jesus, a lot of J's, yeah.
John.
A lot of J names around here. There has to be a Jarrod in the Bible. I don't think it would be spelled the way you spell yours. It's probably a J-R-E-D. But there's gotta be one, yeah.
Did you say J-R-E-D?
Jared.
Okay.
I didn't forget the main consonant, or maybe I did. Jarrod. Jarrod.
Well, buddy, unless you got something else, any more conspiracy theories to talk about.
Not that come to mind. No, I don't have any more conspiracy theories. What's going on with you? When's school start? That's a conspiracy theory?
Yeah, that's.
When's it starting? Tuesday?
It starts. Yeah.
I'm really pulling for you because I don't know if a lot of the listeners know this, but we are planning a heist. So you need to do well in school because you're the guy in the truck who's breaking all the codes and all that shit. So.
Oh yeah. I was like, where the fuck is he going with this? Yeah, I'm gonna learn how to fucking hack all the safes and all that shit in college.
Yeah.
Yeah, I start school on Tuesday. I don't know. It's gonna be a fucking disaster. Probably.
Have faith.
It's gonna be a fucking train wreck. I'm leaving for Nashville tomorrow. And I'm not going to get back until 2. I'm going to get back on the day, probably at like fucking 7 in the morning on the day that I'm supposed to start school. And I have to work that day too. So I'm not getting off on the right foot here. It's going to be a rocky start.
Like, do you have set times when you're supposed to be in class, or is it just like they post the shit online and then you do it?
Two of my classes are 100% online. They just post shit online, and then the other 2 are set meeting times. So I won't have any set meeting times on that day, on Tuesday. I will want to fucking, get started with my work that day though, so that I can be ahead of the curve. But I don't know if I'm gonna have the fucking energy to. Like I said, I'm already off on the wrong foot.
Yeah. Hey, it happened. You'll get in the swing of things. I mean,
thanks, Mazer Laser. You picked a great weekend to make a ridiculous fucking 2-day trip.
Yeah, to Nashville. It was almost Pittsburgh, as you said, but
instead Pittsburgh would have been a lot easier.
Instead of going like what? Because Nashville's like what, like 8 hours away from here, maybe longer.
It's 8 hours. I see you were on the Google Maps already trying to calculate.
Well, no, because when we were down at the Smoky Mountains, it's like the same amount of distance, just on the other side of the state or whatever. So.
Right. Yeah, it's about 8 hours there. We're leaving tomorrow night after Mazer Laser gets off work. And we're going to drive through the night, hopefully get there, early in the morning on Sunday, and have enough time to kind of explore the city, check it out. We have an Airbnb booked for Sunday night, and then we are then it's Monday. We'll probably check out a couple more things, and then hopefully we can leave in like mid-afternoon Monday so that we can shoot for getting back here at like 2 a.m. or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so it should be interesting. Yeah. Yes, I look forward to getting the update for the trip next week. Of course, I haven't been doing shit, and I'm not doing shit. So.
Well, now we're planning a big group trip.
According to my wife, I mean, she's probably very intoxicated right now. Like, when I got that text, I was like, oh my god, now this group message is going to be going constantly when we're recording the fucking show.
Steve instantly texted me, and he's like, who's in this group chat? I was like, oh, Jesus. So I listed off the people I knew, and then the number I don't recognize, I'm assuming is Adrian.
Yes, yes it is. So
I'll probably add her number.
Yeah.
So I know. But yeah, group. You know what? Honestly, if school goes smoothly for me, and I'm like getting the hang, like I've got the hang of it and everything, I still have one more week of vacation that I need to burn up before April.
Right.
So if I'm on time and on target with all my shit, and I can use people's wandering Wi-Fi on my computer as we're on the road, maybe we could do it sooner than later. I'm down.
Oh yeah, I mean we'll see where it goes. So My wife's been talking about you guys a lot. She's like, "Oh, when's Jarrod gonna come out? What is Maisie doing? Like all this shit." I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah. You know, when there's a worldwide pandemic, it makes you bond with strange people.
Yeah. Yeah, like us.
No, me and Maisie are the strange ones. We don't typically have friends, but now people are gravitating us because their selection has dwindled.
I guess, whatever you say. But yeah, I don't know. My wife's she told me today she's been talking to Miles' new girl a little bit, so I don't know. So I don't know what that's all about.
She's in at the ground level.
I guess, so yeah.
I like how I'm so glad because Miles is like, he texted me today and he was like, "You been watching any movies lately?" I'm like, well, damn, if you'd fucking listen to our fucking podcast, maybe you would know exactly what I've been watching lately. So I'm so glad that Miles doesn't actually listen to this podcast to know that we very much disclose his personal information and his personal life.
What I've learned about Miles is that he listens to the ones that he's in. Because he'll be like, "Oh yeah, I listened to that one back and this, and that or whatever." But like, if he's not in the episode, he's not interested. Just likes to hear himself talk, I guess. Or in the case of the couple last ones that he did, listen to himself snore on the podcast, so...
What, on House of Horror?
Well, on the whatchamacallit, on the, like the YouTube Horror Shorts one, he was like falling asleep. And then on the two nerds he was on, whatever one that was, the last one he came on, the conspiracy theory one, yeah, he was like falling asleep in that one too, towards the tail end.
We did a conspiracy theory one, and then we did a House of Horror one where we talked about the damn,
the sacrament.
The sacrament.
Yeah.
Well, I kept wanting to say Communion. That's a totally different movie where Christopher Walken gets anal probed by aliens, and then for a brief second seems to be very much enjoying it.
Yeah, he's dancing around with the inflatable... They look like those inflatable aliens you get at the fair. And there's like... I remember there's like a gorilla suit guy or something. There's like... It's a very strange film.
That movie is so crazy. It's like... It's boring as all shit. And then there's that part in the middle where Christopher Walken gets abducted by aliens. And it just like... fucking rules for like 20 minutes. And then it gets boring again.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't know, maybe if the fans want to see it, we'll get a Christopher Walken month. I mean, that's the peak of testosterone right there.
Christopher Walken. Yeah, I like Christopher Walken. I'm a big fan. I usually, when I see a movie I don't own starring Christopher Walken on VHS, I usually snatch it up, regardless of how it looks or what it's about. I usually grab them up. There's usually something, just like Arnold, there's usually something in a Christopher Walken movie that...
Because he's in it, because he's so otherworldly, like, whispering mid-sentence, fucking, all kinds of shit, man. Like, he's a legend.
I love his, monologue in, I don't know if it's considered a monologue or not, but his big... It's gotta be a fucking...
Are you talking about Pulp Fiction?
No, he's not in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, he is.
Is he?
Oh, yeah, he is. He's in the scene where he's talking about shoving the watch up his ass.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm thinking of True Romance.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a monologue.
I'm just not sure if it's considered a monologue when there's multiple people in the scene, even though it's like one fucking guy talking the whole time. And he just goes on and on, uninterrupted. Yeah,
it's uninterrupted. It's a monologue.
All right. Yeah, monologue. Next time I'm trying out for a part, that's the monologue I'm going to do.
Hey, I've done some strange ones before. I did a dramatic reading of Dr. Evil's backstory from Austin Powers when he's talking about growing up in Belgium.
Well, I can't do the fucking Christopher Walken True Romance monologue because it is very, very racist.
That is true.
All right, so we've gotten our Miles update out of the way. Emily's on the ground level. Where are we going to go on this trip?
I don't know. It depends when and where it is. I mean, I don't know.
Let's fucking go to New York City. Let's go to Times Square. I've been there before. I'm sure you've been there before.
I've never been to Times Square. I've been to New York, but not in the heart of the city.
You didn't go to Times Square?
No, it was like a family trip, and like we were like younger, and it was like for Thanksgiving, and we were just like over like people's houses and shit.
Well, that's not going to New York.
I know, it was pretty lame. It was awkward as hell because my dad packaged it as a hunting trip with one of his college buddies, so my dad was off all day. And then it was like me and my mom and my brother and sister, and we fucking didn't know what to do. And we fucking went to the movies one day, went like shopping, but like we didn't do anything like cool. Like it was kind of lame. It was like 8th grade when we went.
Well, I've been to Times Square, and I stood underneath the Empire State Building, and I saw the Statue of Liberty from my hotel. But I've always kind of wanted to go back and do it again. So that should be where our big fucking group trip should go to New York City, or we could go to Philadelphia. Have you ever been there?
Not for an extended period of time. I was there for one day for the Spray Nerd quote-unquote last show, and then they fucking released an album right after that and started touring again, but whatever. The show in the basement of that church, I don't know if you were aware of that, but...
I didn't go to that. I saw them in Erie in like a room. So I was like, I'm not driving fucking 6 hours or however long it is to get to Philly to see this band I already saw.
It was like 7 hours, and we went there and back in the same day. And Al drove there and back uninterrupted, and he was fucking wired on 5-hour energies. And
oh my god, it sounds horrible.
Yeah.
Sounds amazing for you.
It was alright.
I would love that. I would seriously... Me and you have never gone anywhere super far away, have we?
No, not really.
We've never done a big drive. It's usually just to Taco Bell and then back to my garage.
The longest road trip I think that the two of us have ever been on was when we conceptualized making this show, when we went to go pick up those tapes in Pennsylvania somewhere.
We picked up tapes?
You don't remember? This is when we decided to make the show. You were like, hey, this lady's getting rid of her tape collection or whatever. We drove out to some random city in Pennsylvania. You gave her...
Oh, yes! Dude, I got some good tapes out of that.
Yeah.
There was a couple big boxes in there that were fucking sweet. Yeah, wow. Okay, yeah, and it was like $5 per fucking box of tapes.
Yeah, they came in like those banana boxes, yeah.
That was a good deal. That was a good drive. Yeah.
Yeah,
wow, that's cool. But that's the longest we've ever done. I've never been to Philadelphia. I've never had a real Philly cheesesteak. So maybe, I think that it's either New York City or Philadelphia. That's where our big group friend trip should go.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, man. Yeah, we'll have to...
The next question is, who has a van?
None of us.
Do any of our parents have vans?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, what does Steve tour in?
They always rent a van.
Oh.
I don't want to rent.
Well, I didn't know they rented, and don't get mad at me about it.
Anyways, where I was going with this is, since you've never been on the road with me for like a really long period, and were you driving that day? I don't remember who was driving.
We were in my car. Yeah, I mean, you paid for gas because you were getting the tapes, but I drove.
Okay. Did I not have a car or something at that time?
You had maybe you didn't. I don't know. Either way, I mean, I had the new car and yours was in pretty rough shape no matter what car it was, so we were like, fuck, we'll just take mine, because that was like right after I bought my car, so it was like, right. Fuck it, yeah.
Yeah, well, if you ever go on the road with me for a long period of time, you will know that I can sleep like a motherfucker in a car. Holy shit. There's something about the rumbling car and the noise and just all that just like I'll close my eyes and I will be fucking out for about maybe 2 hours. And then I'll wake up, look around, kind of confirm that
I'm still on the road. I'm not dead.
Run off the road or anything, and then I can just go right back and just go back to sleep. I can sleep in a car so much. Honestly, if I had my way, and I always feel so good when I wake up from like a long road trip that I've just been sleeping on the whole time. Oh, I just feel so refreshed. If I had my way, I would probably every night just like get in someone's car and just sleep as they drove, probably. Just like throw a little blanket on me. Oh man, I fucking love it. So this big like friend trip, don't expect a lot of entertainment from me.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm gonna sit there bored as
Maybe
fuck.
like the first 10 minutes, I'll get really fucking loudmouthed about something, and then once it's awkwardly quiet because I've overpowered everyone in the van, then I will.
You'll just be out.
I will take my slumber.
Jesus Christ. But yeah,
Buddy,
Jarrod.
What's more chilling than The Exorcist? More haunting than The Sixth Sense? And what will scare the hell out of you?
And what also takes place in New York City.
Well, that's not...
That's not on the box.
I'm sure it says it somewhere. It does say, when a burned out former New York City cop. So that's about it with the New York thing. It's end of days, buddy. Yep. Was it more chilling to you? Was it more chilling to you than The Exorcist?
I don't know. What do you think? Was it even presented in a chilling fashion?
I think that there were a couple of jump scares in it.
There was a cat jump scare. I recall the cat.
There was another one. I don't remember what it was. I think there were a couple of things that were like, like the guy that was on the train that looked like literal coronavirus.
Oh, yeah, the albino guy. Yeah. Well, yeah, there were a couple of jump scares, because then the guy's in the hospital or whatever, and they're, like, reading his, like, burned body, and he jumps up or whatever.
Yeah.
Did you forget about that illustrious scene? Where they suggest that he crucified himself.
And then Arnold's answer to that is...
How'd you get the last scalpel in?
How did he get in the last scalpel? The last scalpel? How did he get in any of the scalpels?
Yeah.
And how are scalpels holding him to the ceiling?
Exactly.
Oh, man. Yeah, nobody really questioned the physics of that. I know we're just jumping around, but yeah, the part of that scene I actually laughed out loud because the guy's still alive. He just springs back to life for the big jump scare. And, oh, fuck! And then, and all of a sudden, like, the cop that's like a satanic follower or whatever just
shoots him immediately.
Just shoots him right in the head. And the other cop is like, Jesus Christ!
That's the new thing, just killing patients when they... Oh, we thought he was dead, so may as well just kill him.
He's like, I didn't know.
Jesus Christ. But anyway, yeah, we have been jumping around, so we are talking about End of Days, the illustrious Arnold Schwarzenegger film from 1999, the year of the beast. It's a very historically significant film, Jarrod. I don't know if you're aware of this. Do you know why this film is historically significant?
I don't.
Well, you're a big VHS and Laserdisc collector, so it may interest you to know that this was the last film to be released on Laserdisc.
In the United States.
In the United States, yeah.
Okay, I need to get the Laserdisc for this then. Actually, honestly, I've probably seen the Laserdisc of this before, and I just kind of thought to myself, like, End of Days. Like, I've never seen it before, but I've always heard that it was garbage. And now that I've seen it, I'd take a Laserdisc of this movie.
Yeah, just for the...
The cover's cool, just big Arnold face and fire and crucifixion. And let me go to... I didn't know that, though. that this was the last movie to be released on Laserdisc. That's in North America. That's cool.
Yeah. I can check on eBay real fast. End of Days Laserdisc.
That's a lot cooler than History of Violence, which is the last movie to be released on VHS in the United States.
When was that?
Oh, jeez. It's probably like 2005 or 2004.
Really? I'm not seeing the Laserdisc on eBay for End of Days.
The History of Violence is like oddly sort of collectible because it was the last movie to be released on VHS. I don't think that it's necessarily rare or anything, but a lot of people do buy it and show it off in the fucking...
A History of Violence right now on eBay. $99.99.
Oh, yeah, see, eBay is where you go to pay ridiculous prices for tapes. They're super ridiculous on there. But goddamn, I would rather have this Laserdisc than the damn. And you know what though would be funny though is, you know, the only time I would probably find this Laserdisc is probably like next time I go to Japan. I'll probably find like the Japanese Laserdisc, which it's definitely not the last Laserdisc to be released in Japan because in Japan Laserdisc was pretty big.
Yeah.
Pretty big deal. You find it at like every thrift store that you go to, they have at least some Laserdiscs.
Yeah. I saw some Laserdiscs at my local Goodwill the other day. They
had them good?
They had them in the vinyl records. Like, they didn't know what they were. I think they thought they were...
get mixed in with the vinyls in the U.S. a lot.
Yeah, I mean, nothing worth talking about. But they were there. I was, like, shocked. No End of Days, no.
Well, keep an eye out for End of Days. I will very much buy that. On my VHS copy, where did you watch this movie? So
it's streaming for free on Peacock. So that's where I watched it. It's been about a month since I've seen it.
With commercials?
Yeah, it had like 2 ad breaks in it, so it wasn't bad. If anything, it was a nice time to try to wake up a little bit or, do whatever. So
I have to disagree with you wholeheartedly.
I know, because I saw your Letterboxd rating.
You said that it was boring, and so I'm like, when you texted me that today, because I texted you something about it being like more shocking than The Exorcist or something like that, and then you were like shocking how bad it is, and I was like, oh boy, and you were like, yeah, just try to stay awake, it's tough. And as you sent me that message, like Satan was like walking out of like the restaurant.
It just explodes,
like, exploding behind him, and I was like, I don't know, man. Like so far, it seems kind of cool, and then right after that, Arnold is like, fucking doing the security job, and there's a shooter on the roof, and they're fucking helicoptering over the roof and diving off, and they're shooting at each other. And I was like, God damn! I even wrote in my notes like, this should be the whole movie. Yeah. Like the action sequence at the beginning, I was like, this is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And so I was like, when's this movie gonna get boring? And honestly, it never really got boring for me. I was into this movie the whole way through.
I don't know, for me, it does start off strong when he's chasing down the priest and all that, and then there's like the whole middle section where like until it gets to where the house gets like raided and like there's fire everywhere, like there's that middle portion where it's just like, oh god. But I don't know, but you also notoriously fall asleep during movies, so I was just like, all right, just try to do your best here. So
I was awake and ready to go, and on less sleep than I'm used to because Mazer Laser stayed here last night. She had to get up early for work. I kind of got up as she was leaving, and for some reason every night I have like a first wake up, okay? And it usually happens at like 4 or 5 in the morning, and then I'm up for like 1 to 2 hours just on my phone. And then I'll fall back asleep at like 6 or 7, and then I'll wake up at like 9 or 10.
Yeah, sounds like me.
And so I did that, but it was like 7 because that's when Mazer Laser left. So I'm like, okay, this is my first wake up. I get on my phone and I started looking at houses for sale in Tokyo.
As one does.
And so I had spent like 2 hours just looking at houses in Tokyo, and it was like 9 a.m. by the time I was done. And so I was like, Jesus Christ, should I go back to sleep? And then I was like, God, I got this trip coming up tomorrow. I got to do the podcast tonight so that I, don't fuck with the trip. I still haven't watched this fucking movie. I need to watch this movie. I was like, I can't go back to sleep. So I was just up. I put the movie in, made some chicken tenders, and then
at like 9 a.m.
It was off to the races, and I was never even feeling threatened by falling back to sleep. I enjoyed the movie.
Well, that's good. Yeah, I mean, it's certainly not as bad as the internet makes it out to be, but I mean, it's still not the best.
I want to see, where's the critical response? End of Days received mainly negative reviews from critics. Rotten Tomatoes gives the film an approval rating of 11%. Oh. Oof. That's rough. That's bad.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it's that bad.
101 critics. The site's consensus states, an overblown thriller with formulaic action scenes and poor acting. Ugh. See, okay, I don't think that one should ever approach an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie looking for fucking like Oscar-winning performances, and that's coming from someone that says that like thinks that Arnold, as I've said in every episode thus far, and this is my weekly thing to say, Arnold Schwarzenegger is an underrated actor, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah, you've made that evident.
And I'll say this, though. I don't know the fella's name. Maybe I can find it right here. Is it Gabriel Byrne?
Yeah, that's Satan. Yeah.
I think he did a fucking really good job. I thought his performance was really good. There was the scene where he's in Arnold's apartment, and he's kind of like trying to convince him to basically be, fucking become a Satanist. And like, I was like, man, he's really freaking like, I thought he was just doing good. I was like really like into like everything that he was saying, not like from a dialogue.
You weren't drinking the Kool-Aid.
No, I wasn't drinking the Kool-Aid. Like, it was just a performance that you could see that he was full of shit, and he was able to portray being full of shit, but in a way that would be like, it was kind of like I don't want to say Donald Trump, because he's so obviously full of shit, but it was like a cult leader, you know what I mean?
Right.
It was like a good like cult leader performance where somebody with a brain could see that he's full of shit, but somebody that's down on their luck could easily not see it. You know what I mean? I thought it was portrayed really good, and I thought he did a good job acting. I don't know. I thought it, and he was really charismatic.
Yeah, I think he did. He had a good performance, but I guess like just for me, like my problem with his character is I think he's sort of like way too dumb to be the devil. Like, he makes some stupid decisions here. And, like, just like we're talking about that scene with Arnold in the bedroom. He falls for, like, the oldest fucking trick in the book where, like, Arnold reaches his hand out, and then the devil reaches his hand out, and Arnold puts his arm and throws him over the thing. I'm like, come on, you're the fucking devil. You didn't see that.
That's the script. David Byrne can't fucking go in
there.
That's
what I'm saying. It's a good performance, but I think he doesn't
have the Hulk Hogan creative control clause where he's like, well, brother, I think this makes me look kind of stupid.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a good performance, but I think that they just made the devil a little dumb.
Also, I think that they've like made the devil very human in this. I think that, as like a deceitful kind of entity or whatever, he is kind of human. I think that you could fall for that. Like, you've been given your spiel this whole time, and then Arnold's about to fucking die, and then he reaches his hand out like, okay, I don't want to die. You know what I mean? I could see that, like Satan thinking like, obviously this pathetic human doesn't want to die. He's gonna, if he reaches my hand out, it's serious. And then Arnold, being the crazy bastard that he is in this fucking movie. We first see him, he's got a pistol pointed to his head, he's gonna fucking kill himself.
That's true. Yeah, until he makes his Chinese food and beer fucking protein shake or whatever the fuck.
I just like, no wonder he wants to kill himself. Arnold, it's not that hard. Like, if you just make yourself a decent, normal breakfast, life is a lot better. Like, you would be surprised how much happier you'd be if you would just make a fucking omelet every once in a while.
Yeah.
You just get some chorizo sausage, some onions and peppers, do the eggs and some cheese on it. Psh, change your life, brother.
But nah, just cold pizza.
Cold pizza that was on the floor.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure
it looked as hard as a fucking brick, too.
Yeah. Holy
hell. Arnold received $25 million for this movie.
That's a lot of money.
This movie didn't make even half of its budget.
How much was the budget and how much did it make, since you're on there?
Oh wait, never mind. It made more than half the budget back. It made all of its money back. Double. And worldwide. I read this wrong, so damn. It'd be so much funnier.
Oh, were you reading? You were reading the opening weekend?
I was reading that the budget. I was reading their worldwide gross as the budget, and that the film grossed $66 million in the United States, and then I thought $212 million was the budget, but that's their worldwide gross.
That's crazy. This was $100 million movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, the time period.
Yeah, I'm sure the special effects were not cheap at the time.
And I mean, a quarter of that
was Arnold.
Was Arnold's salary. And so, I mean, Mr. Byrne and everybody else, they had to get paid too. And the special effects, they brought in Stan Winston to oversee the special effects.
Yeah.
He's a very famous special effects artist. And there was some good moments in this. I think anytime that CGI was involved, it looked horrific. But there was some good practical effects in this.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, when it's bad, it's bad. Like the guy fucking on the subway when he breaks into a fucking million pieces. That looks horrible.
I'll say that the first half of that scene, I was like, what the fuck did I just see? There's no way that looked that fucking bad just now. Oh, it did. It looked that bad. But then the second half, where it does the close-up of like his shattered face and he's still talking, I thought that looked pretty good.
Yeah, I don't really remember it too much, but I remember the crumble being bad.
His head was like shattered off, and it was like one eye, and then like his mouth, and it was like like jagged glass kind of look.
Right. And
he was still talking.
Yeah, I remember this scene. I just don't remember exactly like how good it looked or whatever.
How could you forget the fucking scene?
They're gonna get you. He's gonna fuck you.
So, End of Days was nominated for 3 Razzie Awards. Worst Actor for Arnold. I mean, come on, dude. Come on. There's no fucking way. Worst Supporting Actor from Gabriel Byrne. Now, you're just fucking picking on this movie now. There's no fucking way. Was he... Am I just overrating him? I thought he was good. You said it was a good performance.
Yeah, it's a good performance, but yeah, it's shitty. It's just shitty material for a lot of it. But I know, like I said, I mean, like I don't think it deserves
supporting actor.
That's it seems a little harsh.
I'm not putting him up for best supporting actor or anything, but for worst supporting actor, that's harsh. Worst director, okay. Yeah, that's fine. I'll take that one. And pre-nominated for Worst Picture. There's no fucking way that End of Days was in the running for Worst Movie that came out in 1999.
Let's see.
Schwarzenegger later said he thought Himes or whatever was the wrong director for the film. He did not have the potential, I think, visually and intellectually to really do something with that movie. But he was recommended by James Cameron, so we thought, well, he must know.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It was definitely... Because a lot of people fucking passed on this movie. Because, like, Tom Cruise was originally supposed to play Jericho, and then they got Arnold after that. Guillermo del Toro was attached to it for a brief period to direct as well. Like, a lot of people...
That would have been interesting, but can Del Toro really do action scenes?
I don't know. I mean, I haven't really seen him do action scenes, no.
That would be an interesting thing. I think that they should have co-directed.
Yeah?
James Cameron and Del Toro. James Cameron should have just taken the fucking movie.
Yeah?
He could do scary shit. We seen it in fucking Terminator 1.
Yeah. And he knows how to work with Arnold. I mean,
just rewatched that recently, and like,
it's got its moments.
It's like, man, like that last part of the movie is like fucking scary.
Yeah.
But whatever. Man, maybe if I saw this in 1999, maybe I would be like, God, this sucks. And maybe it's like a movie that just like has aged better. That to me, maybe, I don't know. Well, you didn't like it, so maybe I'm just in the minority here. But what I want to talk about right now is something that you did not see because you were streaming online. In the VHS, before the movie starts, we have a preview for the soundtrack for
End of Days.
And some of the featured artists, it should be no surprise, Limp Bizkit.
Of course.
Korn.
Mm-hmm.
Creed.
The classics.
Rob Zombie. Eminem. There were a couple of more, but those are the ones that I wrote down.
Yeah.
Can it get any more 1999 than this fucking soundtrack?
I don't think so, man. I mean,
Guns N' Roses was also on the soundtrack. I recall that now because when at the end of the film, when Arnold's going into the fucking like satanic gathering, like the ritual or whatever, where Satan's gonna fuck this girl in front of all the fucking satanic church, basically. When Arnold first enters the room, they're like blaring Guns N' Roses.
Yeah. Jesus.
I would have loved it if they would have gotten Guns N' Roses into the movie and like Guns N' Roses were performing live.
Would have been crazy.
And basically fucking hell.
Yeah.
The New York subway hell.
I'm sure Satan has some clout. He could have booked them. I mean,
I like the scene there. We're all over the place here. That we're going from beginning, middle, and end. But I like the scene where it's like the guy that has his eyes fucking cut out.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of a jump scare too. He like kind of comes out and he's like, "What are you doing?" You know.
Oh yeah.
And then he sniffs him and he's like, "Oh, your heart is filled with hatred and like revenge or something like that, or hatred and vengeance.
Yeah.
You may pass."
Right.
You want to kill someone. You are more than welcome to come down here and ruin everything.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I wouldn't say that I hate the film or anything. It's just like, for me, it's just really, there's a lot of cliched parts in it, and the writing at times is just really bad and coincidental and stupid. Like, I mean, we talked about the Arnold scene at the beginning. Like, how many cliched cop movies where the cop is just, like, down on his luck and, like, contemplates suicide? Like, you see that shit all the time. And then there's just, like, some really stupid moments, like, so when Arnold first goes to the church to confront the priest or whatever on why there was a hit out on Gabriel Byrne or whatever, and all the priests go in the basement, and they're just like, all right, leave, like, we're not gonna talk to you or whatever, and they don't fucking lock the door behind them, and Arnold just, like, walks right down.
Yeah, that's one that I noticed. I put it down in my notes, too. Like, that's, like, the easiest fucking, like, I don't know what they were doing, an exorcism or something?
I just remember they had the girl, like, tied down to the bed, and they were just, like, all, like, taking notes and stuff, and she was, like, hooked up to these machines. And then they're just like, oh, how'd you get down here? It's like, what do you mean? You didn't fucking lock the door. What do you mean?
You need to leave. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that part was bad and unnecessary.
Like, I feel like maybe they had it, like, written... Like, oh, he locks the door and then Arnold has to find another way down there and it maybe got, like, cut for time or something and they were just like, fuck it, just have him go. But, like, I don't know what the fuck happened.
I don't even see the need for that scene to even be in there. Why does Arnold need to see them fucking doing the shit to the old lady? It didn't really have any major effect on the plot. Could have been cut out entirely. That scene could have ended with fucking, you know, like, you need to fucking leave. Get out of here. You don't believe in God? Well, we got work to do, so get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Okay, see ya. And then he just leaves.
Right.
I mean, am I missing something? Did she come back to affect the plot at all later?
Not that girl. I mean, they go back to, like, the little hideout later.
They go back.
But that could have been the...
She had, like, wounds on her hands before that were, like, gone, and she was good now.
Well, because they go there because that's when he says the whole speech about 666 is really 999 or whatever. But, like, that could have been the first scene where you introduce, like, the secret layer or whatever. Like, you didn't have to have it before
Right,
that.
It didn't have to be there before.
So, yeah, I don't know, but...
I will say that I think that the former cop being down on his luck and depressed and considering suicide and everything, even though you think it's cliched... I think that it's...
maybe at the time it wasn't that cliched, because, I mean, it was 1999, but I know, like, looking back...
It could have been cliched. I mean, like, what? Fucking... Seven came out before this.
Right.
Definitely this took some influence from that. But I think that in this movie, it's really relevant, because... him being down on his luck and, you know, like being depressed, considering suicide, all that shit, it really plays into him potentially being tempted by the devil.
Right.
Because that's where he gets you every fucking time. You know what I mean?
When you're at your worst, yeah.
When you're at your worst, you can be tempted by Satan. You know, he comes in, oh, I can make you happy again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can see your wife and daughter again or whatever.
And all this shit. Technically, even when you are... Even before he pulled that card out, you know, it was... technically, when you're in depression, you're basically fucking already giving in to the devil when you're like... fuck this, fuck that, you know what I mean? I don't care about any of this. The way the guy even says it later, he's like, oh, the way you've been living your life, you think you're going to go to fucking heaven? Like, come on.
Yeah.
So I think it's relevant in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense with the plot.
If this was just like a standard cop drama, then I would maybe be more inclined to agree with you and be like, yeah, it's kind of cliched, but...
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, in the context of the story, it actually, like, has something to do with stuff that comes up later. So, yeah,
right.
I mean, what else did you like about it?
Oh, jeez.
Because you watched it today. I mean, for me, it's not as fresh, so...
Right, yeah. I actually took more notes on this movie than any movie so far. I was writing like a motherfucker. So I really like in the early parts of the movie where Satan is basically just going around fucking cucking everybody. Like, before he blows up the restaurant, first off, that's like the most badass thing that's ever fucking happened in like the entire world. This dude comes out of the bathroom, grabs this fucking dude's wife's tit, and just starts fucking shoving his tongue down her throat. The guy's like, "What are you doing?" And fucking Satan just looks at him.
He just stares at him, and then he's like, "All right, fine, make out with my wife.
Like,
it's fine."
"Well, so I'm cool with this now. Like, I'm definitely gonna watch you fucking fondle my wife." And then Satan fucking shoving his tongue down her throat, and he's like, "All right, I'm done here." And he walks out and just blows everyone up.
Yeah.
But then there's the other scene where it's like, "Oh, Satan, you fucking deviant, you."
Where are you talking about the sex scene?
Satan shows up to like his like number one fucking his like right hand man. Like he shows up to his house, and the guy's like, "Oh my god, it's you! Yes, like you're here." This dude's just having family dinner, you know, talking to his daughter about college. Like, "Oh, you're gonna do good in college," and all this stuff or whatever. Satan walks in. It's a whole new ball game now, brother. And he walks in there and he's like, Is this your daughter?" He's like, "Yep." And he's like, "Is this your wife?" "Yep. I am going to fuck them."
Yeah.
And he's having a threesome with this dude's wife and daughter right there. Yep. I don't know if the guy's sitting there beating his meat in the background or not. I'd imagine so. He's definitely getting cucked by this whole thing. And
he like starts like, there's like some weird like osmosis thing going on, right? Like his fucking like the legs are like getting combined or something.
It was weird. I think at that point kind of started turning into like the
nightmare.
Christine's little nightmare there. Because I think they melded into one and it like became her, I think.
Yeah, because she was like visioning like him having sex with her or something.
Right. She's been having visions of this the whole time. I just love the idea that Satan comes down and comes up to Earth in 1999 with the sole purpose of, I really want to fuck.
Yeah.
I'm going to fuck anything and everything.
Right.
But I like this character. I liked him going around fucking everybody. In the scene with the guy whose hair looked like actual coronavirus, when you see like the pictures of the coronavirus, his hair looked like a white version of that.
Because I don't know what it is. It's like these twisty, like almost like cornrow looking things. Like I don't know what the style is.
Yeah, it looked like shit. Anybody that does their hair like that is just a failure. But oh my god, he just walks up to her on the subway and just starts screaming, "He's gonna fuck you!" Oh my god, so good. "He's gonna fuck you, Christine." How do you know my name?
Right.
Oh man, I don't know. There's so much. When they go to the priest's apartment, and like, can you even call that an apartment? I think they even make a comment about rent control or something.
Yeah, because it looks like a rundown. Like there's no way anyone could possibly be living there. The fact that that cat was still alive is mind-boggling.
In the fridge.
Yes, in the fridge, alive.
To be fair, the cat was very pissed off.
Yes.
I think the guy, I have this weird thing where every movie I watch, I like really like to recast everybody. And even though I said that fucking Byrne did a good job as Satan, I really think that Willem Dafoe should have been Satan in this movie.
Yeah, that would have been good. Willem Dafoe is a hell of a guy, so he can pull off anything. So,
and I think that Arnold's little sidekick should have been like fucking
anyone but Kevin Pollak.
It should have been like Jim Belushi or something.
See, now you're just trying to make that Arnold movie you hate into something good.
Freaking Red Heat?
Yeah.
It's like, I swear, that and Maggie are like the only two Arnold movies where I've watched them and just been like, I'm absolutely disgusted with this. I hate everything about this. Except for with Red Heat, there's the scene at the beginning in the hot spring.
Yeah.
That part's good. And I don't remember Is it in Russia? Do they have public bathhouses in Russia?
I don't know.
I know that Arnold is Russian in that movie.
That's possible. I mean, I don't know.
With a German accent.
Yeah.
As he does in every movie. Man. I don't know. What do you remember about the movie?
I remember Gabriel Byrne pisses on the sidewalk and then lights it on fire.
He pisses gasoline. What a thing to remember.
And then immediately after that, Arnold gets the shit kicked out of him by like a 60-year-old woman.
That is the best scene in the whole movie. I was like, I can't believe I'm watching this. Arnold was getting the fucking piss beaten out of him by a granny.
And that's the nurse from the beginning, right? Is that what it's? So yeah.
And the dad that the dude that where Satan fucks his daughter and his wife. That's the dude that
that's one of the doctors or something.
Cuts the rattlesnake.
Yeah.
And like puts the blood on her. Like they do like a ritual with her when she's born.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he gets the shit kicked out of him, pressed up against the fucking wall with a piano. It's like almost like a fucking like Looney Tunes skit or something. Like he's fucking like getting the shit kicked out of him. But then he just slams her fucking right through that glass table, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
It's so fucking good. As I was seeing that, that's when I was really like, boring? Boring? Arnold's doing battle with a fucking grandma right now. How does it get more thrilling than this? What is it? Is it more... Oh, okay, alright. I said thrilling, not chilling. So, still not as chilling as The Exorcist.
Yeah. Do you find The Exorcist chilling?
I think that it is, at least the first time I watched it, it does still have a way to make people feel uncomfortable.
Yeah. I think it's incredibly overrated. I still love the film and everything, but I guess it's chilling. I mean, it still builds up atmosphere good and all that. And
I don't know if chilling is the right word. I do think that I gave Exorcist 4.5 stars, and I think that my review of it was like, if they would have done like the crab walk scene at the end of the movie as opposed to like the fucking middle or like 3/4 through, I think that it would have been paced perfectly then.
Like, I think the ending of The Exorcist is a little underwhelming, because, I mean, she's strapped to the bed, the only part I think that's fucking chilling in that is when the fucking priest walks back into the room, or whatever, and he sees, like, the clip of his mom in, like, the hospital for, like, a split fucking second. That part, I'm like, fuck. But then...
That's what I'm saying. The ending of the movie is underwhelming because they build up to, like, the climax of that movie is earlier in the film when she gets out of the fucking bedroom and she's like coming down the fucking stairs.
Right. I don't think it's scary once she's strapped to the bed and they're doing their shit. Because then it's just kind of funny. Because, I mean, she's saying, like, your mother sucks cocks in hell and all that shit. Like,
right, yeah. I think that, like, you could have got to that. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know. Like, they fucking blew their load earlier in the movie, in my opinion. I'm pretty sure that's what I put in my review when I reviewed it. And so, you know, I really like The Exorcist. It did make me feel uncomfortable. I think the movie does a great job of building up the characters and then putting them in a situation that you can't necessarily relate to it because most people have never really been in that situation. But you can kind of feel how you would feel in that situation where it's like, holy fuck, my daughter is literally being possessed by Satan and everything sucks dick right now.
Yeah.
I like the shirt. Satan rules.
Oh, yeah. He's just like, nice shirt.
There's a skateboarder that rolls up.
And then he kills him.
Yeah, well, the guy was a dickhead. Like, Satan thought that they were gonna bond over their shirt, over the shirt.
He just like pissed off,
the
and he
skateboarder kind of like runs into Satan on the road, and then like the dude gets up and he's like, "Hey, what the fuck, man?" And Satan's like, "Oh, hey, I like your shirt."
Yeah.
And the dude's like, "Fuck you, dude." And Satan's like, "Okay." And he just throws him into a fucking bus.
Right. Yeah. God. What else you got in your notes there?
Oh, Jesus Christ, everything. Let's see here. I noticed the Twin Towers in this movie. They were shot at least once. The old Apple computers. When Arnold's doing like an ID check or whatever on the computer at his work, they're those old Macintosh computers that looked super futuristic that we had in like elementary school or whatever when we were kids. They were all like rounded, and
like the green
monitor
one
was like the kind of the, I don't know, is translucent the right word? Like blue. That would be like blue or green or whatever, and you could see through and see like some of the electronics to it.
Yeah.
I liked those things when I was a kid. Nowadays, I'm a Windows man myself.
Yeah.
I know you still have an Apple.
Still haven't. Yeah, this MacBook has been fucking... Jesus Christ, it'll been like 12 years I've had this computer, and I haven't had any problems with it yet, so... Fingers crossed, but...
I will say that I think that there should have been more hints earlier in the movie that the cops were in cahoots with Satan.
Yeah.
Like, they just kind of show up and they're like, "Hey, hand over the girl." And I was like, whoa, the police are with Satan? Now, I knew the one guy was. She had, like, the hospital security guard with him, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
With her. But her, I didn't think that there were any clues at all. Maybe she said things. Maybe she had a couple lines earlier in the movie that would hint towards it. But
Yeah.
I do think that here's one thing about the storytelling and the bad writing that I think that we can touch on. It's never really explained why Arnold takes such a high interest in this case.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, he's just like going through like all the stuff, doing like a bunch of detective work and everything. And I was like, why is he doing that? He's just a fucking like private security like worker now.
Right. I don't know if just doing it made him like get his spark back or what. Yeah, it's not really like explained. I didn't really think too much of it. Like, I didn't like focus in on it, but it's interesting that you point that out because yeah, I'm not sure why he got so invested.
I mean, I understand why he gets into it once he finds out that basically, I understand from the point where he saves the girl from getting killed by like the Vatican dudes or whatever. I understand from that point on why he's invested in the case.
Well, because first he's just fucking protecting the guy or whatever, and then there's the shootout. I think like maybe his interest got sparked when the main cop is like, "What do you mean he talked to you? He didn't have a tongue or whatever." And he was like, "Well, what the fuck? I'm not crazy." And then like all the creepy shit started happening.
That's true. I forgot about the no tongue thing. I forgot about that. That's a good point. Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah, that could be the...
So I guess like even like early on he's basically like, what the fuck is going on here? So, like, I don't know.
But he does try to stay really private from the police. Like,
yeah.
He doesn't, like, he wants to stay like one step ahead of their investigation.
Yeah.
Maybe that's so that they can't alter any evidence to...
Maybe.
And
then what goes on, because you watched it today, so like, we see Kevin Pollak explode or whatever, Arnold knows that he's dead, but then he comes back and Arnold just doesn't really question it?
He does.
Like, what does he say?
He's just like, I thought you fucking exploded, basically.
And the guy's just like, nah.
No, he says that he's like a couple more seconds than I would have.
Oh.
So basically, he's saying that he got away from the car, like before it really exploded. He escaped the explosion, which is not true. He did not escape the explosion, and he made a deal with the devil to stay alive.
Yeah.
Um,
So the devil killed him just to bring him back.
I don't think that he fully died. I think that he was.
Well, because I remember he says like, oh, he was like badly burnt or whatever, and then he made the deal or whatever.
He was on fire or whatever, and
yeah, because he says like, oh, you'll do crazy things when you're on fire or whatever.
Yeah.
There's some line like that.
Yeah, you wouldn't believe what a man would do when he's on fire. And you're right. I have no idea what a man would do. I like the scene where Satan's like right-hand man is trying to get the granny to fucking bring Christine to him.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, no, I can't do it. The police are here. Like, the police have the whole building surrounded. I can't bring her there yet. And the guy walks up to Satan, and he says, hey, Satan, I couldn't convince her. And without saying anything, Satan just punches him through his fucking skull.
Yeah.
He doesn't say anything, and then he's like, I guess I gotta go to her then.
Yeah.
Why did you fucking kill that guy?
Yeah. So, I guess here's a question, like, that sort of, like, ties into that, which, again, is another thing that doesn't really make too much sense. Like, Satan is Satan. He's a fucking fallen angel. He's incredibly powerful, like, all this bullshit. Like, why is he having such a hard time making his plan come to fruition? Like, why is it so hard for him to find this girl? Why are there so many, like, complications along the way? Like...
Well, I'll try to defend it like this.
He's Satan!
I understand that, buddy. He's Satan, and I mean, the complications are this, okay? Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger. Satan did not account for goddamn Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger to be alive and well in the year 1999, the year of the beast.
He should have just fucking possessed Arnold from the beginning, man.
He didn't want to kill Arnold. He wanted to turn Arnold into one of his followers. You see him show restraint with Arnold like a million fucking times. He wants Arnold to come over to the dark side, and there must be something about like how far Arnold has fallen, and that Satan can see that, and he's like, yeah, this guy, like, there's without a doubt he's gonna come around. He's gonna be on my side.
Well, because he says in his speech, and correct me if I'm wrong, but like it's alluded to that like Arnold's family died because he wasn't there, or like something like he was responsible for it in some way.
I think Satan replayed like their actual death. I think that like criminals that Arnold had testified against. I know. Criminals that Arnold testified against when he was a cop, broke into his house when he was on the job and murdered his wife and daughter.
Right.
And Satan's basically like,
you weren't there for them, and whatever.
No, he didn't. He doesn't say that. He literally says, "Oh, it wasn't your fault." You know what I mean? It's God's fault. You were just out doing your job. You know what I mean? How would you know? You did the right thing and all that. It was God that didn't do the right thing. He didn't protect your family.
Typical devil stuff to
right.
say.
That's what I mean. That's why I'm saying, like, that part of the movie where he's like giving his whole spiel to Arnold and the thing, and he's like making some compelling arguments and stuff. I thought the performance was great. That I was like, whoa, okay, like this is a really fucking like interesting scene where like nothing's happening. They're just talking, but the dialogue I thought was really intriguing there.
Yeah.
There were parts of this movie that had a lot more potential than the other thing, like the other parts. Do you think? I wrote down before the lady cop showed up. I wrote down, like, I wonder if the cops are ever going to do something about the blatant fucking interference in their investigation that Arnold is just committing at every turn. Like, they never say anything to him. Like, that police chief or whatever, she never, like... I think she makes, like, snide comments and shit like that, but she's never, like... You realize that this is a police investigation, that you're not supposed to be here.
Right, yeah, because he's not on the force.
If I keep catching you here, I'm going to have to, like, take you in or something. You know what I mean? Like, he shows up. He's at every fucking place before they get there. And, like, yeah, he's, like, he's obviously conducting his own investigation and taking the law into his own hands. You're not supposed to do that.
Exactly, yeah.
He could be tampering with evidence. He does tamper with evidence. He literally steals a book from the one house.
Yeah.
That's like a satanic Bible, I think?
Something, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
I can't remember. But the cops were with Satan the whole time anyways. Maybe they wanted Arnold to come this far.
That's true, yeah.
I'll say that the part where the director definitely failed in this, holy fucking shit. $100 million, buddy. $100 million, and they couldn't buy a single fucking light. It's very dark. And this is like the darkest fucking movie I've ever seen.
I can't even imagine it on the VHS, because I was watching it in HD, and it was...
Oh my god. You could only see Arnold's face during close-ups. If he was anywhere far from the screen, it's like his face was just totally black.
Yeah. There was, when I was doing research for this a little bit, Arnold is quoted by saying that he found the finished film way too dark, not with the themes or the story, but the director and the DP's lighting. So Arnold was very critical of it as well.
Right. I wonder if the Blu-ray looks any better now, if they were able to adjust it for the Blu-ray release. The VHS was... Oh my god, it was horrible. I had to put, like, my blanket in front of my window to kind of reduce the light coming into my room. I turned the brightness and picture and all the color and everything all the way up on my TV. Like, my retinas are fucking burning, but I still can't fucking see anything in this goddamn movie. Holy fuck. Oh.
Yeah, very dark.
I don't know, man. So much stuff happens in this movie. I don't understand how you were bored. Like, just shit keeps happening. In my opinion, there's like scenes where it's like, yeah, there's a little bit of investigation and stuff going on, but Arnold fights a granny. Arnold gets crucified. Like, he literally gets crucified in some alleyway.
He does, yeah. I forgot about that until you mentioned it, yeah.
And then a priest that, by all accounts, should have fucking died. Like, he was fucking...
He should have died from when they fell out of the helicopter, but then he's still completely fine. Like, when he crashed into the fucking fruit cart or whatever.
No, not him. The preacher that was fucking, had the secret lair.
The bald guy.
Yeah. Like, he fucking, he got his ass beat by Satan. And then, like, the next day, like, he's just strolling along the alleyway, and there's Arnold crucified. And he's like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
You're still alive. Let's see here. There's scenes where, the streets are just, like, totally empty in New York City. That was not my experience when I was there. And I was there at, like, 3 in the morning. There were people everywhere.
Yeah. What's up?
You sent me recording. Please stop.
Oh, I meant to send that to someone else. My wife called me 2 times.
Oh boy. speaking of the rattlesnake at the beginning of this movie, I know I've dominated this podcast. I feel bad.
Oh, no, you're fine.
I'm giving you shots here, buddy, but then you're just like, yeah. Speaking of the rattlesnake, I forgot to talk about this in Collateral Damage last week, but there's a kill scene in Collateral Damage that I had in my notes that I forgot to bring up about, like, the snake that the guy had there.
The snake strangulation. I think we talked about it, but then that's when something happened in the show and we got distracted. But I mentioned the snake torture scene.
It's not a torture scene; it's a murder scene. Yeah. He just shoves a fucking what is it a coral snake? One of those snakes is like, I think it's the coral snake, is like one of the most fucking venomous snakes ever. And then but it looks very similar to like a fucking like a rat snake or something, or a milk snake or something. Milk snake. What the fuck is a milk snake?
I don't know what a milk snake is.
It is a milk snake. See, I fucking knew it, dude. Literally says coral snake versus milk snake right here. And like the milk snake is like very like not deadly, like not a lethal venom to humans. It's not very deadly, not very hostile. And then there's the fucking coral snake. They look very similar. They both have red, yellow, and black patterns, but the way that their stripes and stuff are laid out are different, and you need to be able to tell the difference, or you could very well end up fucking dead as fuck.
Yeah.
But anyways, definitely a coral snake that they rock in Collateral Damage. They just have on deck so they can just shove into a guy's throat whenever they need to kill someone.
I was so fucking mad when I sent you the picture of fucking Collateral Damage the other day. I was so fucking mad when I saw that at Goodwill. That was the same day when I saw that laser disc in the vinyl section, because it was a couple days ago, I fucking rented Collateral Damage on YouTube for $2.99, and then I'm at Goodwill the next week. It's on sale for a fucking $1, the DVD. I'm like, God damn it. I could have fucking owned it for half the price.
And it's one of your favorite films, too. I'm assuming you still bought it.
Oh, of course, yeah. No, I didn't. I didn't buy it, no.
Man.
I was looking, though. That's why I was looking in the DVDs, because I was hoping to find some Stallone stuff for next month, but I was unsuccessful.
We've jumped all over the place on this podcast.
We have.
It's been a mess. The past couple too, we kind of went through the movie like in a chronological way, and this one I was like, oh, you remember in the end, and you remember in this.
As long as it's still entertaining, man, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's our show. We can do whatever we want.
It's entertaining for someone. So there's a bunch of scenes at the end. They're doing the New Year's Eve party in Times Square or whatever. There's a random float of what I assume is God.
I don't remember that. I remember the praise and stuff. I don't remember the God float.
It's a weird like fucking. It's almost like one of the Chinese like fucking like floats that they do for like parades, where it's like
the dragons and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like 6 people underneath it, but it was like a white man with like a long beard and like white hair. And it was, like, very ghostly.
It's probably supposed to be, like, Father Time or something. I mean, it was New Year's Eve. I don't know. I don't remember that part, but, yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe it was. Maybe you watched the edited version. Mine's definitely the director's cut. It says nowhere on the tape. This film has been modified from its original version.
To fit your screen?
To fit your TV. Yeah, definitely director's cut. He cut it to fit my TV.
Was it in widescreen, or did they have it chopped off?
This isn't widescreen. The Laserdisc probably is. What else is there? I'm just going through my notes now. Guns N' Roses at the Satanic Ritual. That made me laugh. There's So Arnold breaks into the Satanic Ritual. Everybody's there. It's a big ruckus. Arnold fucking shoots Satan with like a fucking rocket launcher. not a rocket launcher, but a grenade launcher. He's got them all fucked up. They run away. They escape into the subway. They almost get hit by a train, but the train stops in time. They get in and they're off. And so, like, one of my favorite scenes in the movie is this battle with Satan on the train. They're separating the cars, and Satan's fucking on the one, and he's like, Jericho! And he starts walking. Arnold does another long jump. This is a third movie in a row. This must be a thing in Arnold movies where he does long jumps. He's jumping across the goddamn train cars, and he barely gets it. And then it's Jericho, like fucking Vince McMahon coming for Chris Jericho, and he's about to jump, and as I think he's in mid-flight between the trains, and Arnold just fucking blasts him with another grenade launcher.
Jesus Christ!
And he goes flying back, and his whole train car fucking explodes, and they're on the goddamn train car that they separated, which is supposed to be slowing down to a stop, but it's not slowing down fast enough. So they're flying into the explosion. They have to go run to as far back into the train car as they can. It's a really exciting scene. Fucking Satan is still alive.
Yeah.
Okay, because he's Satan. But at this point, he doesn't have legs. He doesn't have a dick anymore.
So, like, his plan has been foiled.
That's what I thought. The battle is won. They've disposed of his penis. He can't have sex now. The whole point of this movie, we should say to the people that have been, listen, watch End of Days. I know it's an hour and 22 minutes into this podcast. Watch End of Days before you listen to this podcast, because we have been saying things without giving them much context at all. But the whole point of the movie is Satan has to fuck this girl
by
so
midnight.
She can give birth to the Antichrist. He has to fuck her between 11 and 12 on New Year's Eve of 1999.
Yeah.
Okay. So this whole time he's just trying to fuck this girl. And Arnold is the biggest cock block
of all time
on planet Earth. Yeah. It gets to a point in the movie that they run to this church. Okay? And this is where I'm head scratching. It is New Year's Eve in 1999, 11:50 at night, and they're having a church service.
That's common.
Is it?
Yeah, there's normally like a Christmas mass, like Christmas Eve they do midnight, they do like a New Year's Eve mass. It's not as common now, but like I know like my grandma would like always go to that shit and stuff like back in the 90s.
Holy fucking shit, Christians, you need to stop. Stop it. That sounds horrible.
Yeah.
That sounds awful. God's like, yeah, brother, if you want to get into heaven, you got to go through hell on earth. And that means going to church.
Yeah.
Every Sunday, and sometimes
at midnight
on New Year's Eve.
I don't know if the New Year's Eve one is as common, but definitely like Christmas Eve, like there's midnight masses, and that's still a thing. So,
well, let me tell you something, buddy. It is 11:52. Okay, and Satan's running out of time.
Yeah.
He has 8 minutes to track these people down and have sex with this girl.
And he's got to be fast, man. Like
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm getting to. Satan better hope that he has a very severe case of premature ejaculation at this rate, because he's got to get his clothes off, her clothes off, and he's got to...
He's got to get right to town. Yeah, there's no foreplay. There's no nothing.
He's got to get hard. Not to get too graphic, but he's got to get hard. He's got to get in there, and
It's not enough time.
yeah, I don't know. Especially at the end, there's 3 minutes left. So Satan shows his true form. He's a terrible CGI monster, and then he's just there for like 1 second, and then he flies into Arnold. So now he's possessing Arnold. It's a really like a good like slapstick scene where Arnold's getting smacked up against walls and everything, and he's making all the noises and the Arnold facial expressions. And how could you say worst actor for Arnold Schwarzenegger in a movie where he makes the expressions?
But then once he's in Arnold, he doesn't immediately start fucking her. He's just like, we did it. And he's just like saying all this shit. Like, you think he'd be like in more of a rush.
I think he's trying to lure her.
But at that moment, you can't be fucking around. Like, he's got like
trick her into
60
a false
seconds
sense
to
of
let...
security. He has to bring her over to the table, and then he's ripping off pieces of her clothing, not even like the whole thing. And I'm like, dude, you have 3 minutes. 3 minutes. I've been known to be a little quick on the draw from time to time. I don't know if I could do 3 minutes.
From start to finish, I don't think 3 minutes is enough time.
No,
even if it's quick. Because again, you have to take the clothes off. You gotta, there's steps to this.
We should mention that before this, Arnold threw down his weapons and decided to fight with the power of God.
That is true.
He's re-accepted Christ into his life, and I'm not so sure that it did anything for him.
I don't know. It gave him the willpower to fight Satan off from the inside to stab himself.
I don't think it's made
himself.
abundantly clear that God is what gave him that willpower. I think that he already had that fucking willpower when he was hanging by one hand in a broken glass window and decided, hey, instead of fucking taking Satan up on his offer, I'm going to trick him and throw him out of this fucking window.
Yeah. I don't know, but physical strength is different than some sort of like...
It's not about physical strength, it's about fucking like, he was dead to rights, and instead of taking the easy way out, he was like, I'm still gonna fuck with this guy.
Right. I don't know.
Like, he seemed pretty fucking strong-willed throughout the movie. Like, he knew what he was up against, and he was still like, I'm going for it. So, I don't know. I think that narratively he is supposed to be given the will to fight against Satan's possession by his acceptance of God, but it's not made abundantly clear enough to me. And he tells the girl to run. He does another massive long jump onto a sword, and he kills himself.
Yeah.
The movie ends with Arnold Schwarzenegger killing himself. I was let down by that ending. I really wanted it to be not Arnold gets possessed by Satan. You could have even gotten there, but I wanted to see some fight scene between him and the giant monster.
Yeah, I mean, the giant monster just shows up. He's there for a couple seconds, and then when Arnold impales himself, we see him again, like, in flames, but then that's about it. Like, there's no confrontation with him in his Satan form, really.
Yeah, I wanted to see that. I mean, I was happy with a lot of the confrontation, the action scenes between Satan and his human form, but I was really much looking forward to Arnold, maybe a scene where, like, fucking Satan, like, grabs him, and he's all big, and he's, like, crushing Arnold in his hand, and then Arnold gets a fucking hand free, and he fucking punches Satan in the face. Yeah. And maybe he spits on him, like Satan's like, oh, you got one more chance to come to, whatever, join me or whatever, and Arnold spits on him and then fucking punches him and fuck you. And then my Arnold impression has gotten really bad over the
years.
Over the years, it used to be pretty solid, and now it's horrible.
Yeah.
But this movie ends just like Terminator 2. Arnold Schwarzenegger sacrifices himself and then shows off how massive his fucking hands are at the end of the movie when she holds his hand and her hand looks like a fucking doll's hand compared to his.
Pretty much, yeah.
And then the movie ends with a very disappointing end credits scene. I was totally expecting throughout the entire run of the movie, I know who's on the soundtrack. Limp Bizkit, Korn, Guns N' Roses, Creed.
Yeah, because you saw it at the beginning, yeah.
Right, I know. I thought, dude, as soon as these credits fucking go, it's going to be like...
Rolling.
Yeah, it's going to be like Chocolate Starfish or some shit like that. Like, as soon as the credits roll, it's just going to be some fucking hard-ass nu metal. Like, fucking Freak on a Leash is going to come on, and I'm going to be like, yeah. No, it was some bullshit goddamn score. Like, most disappointing part of the movie. Bad choice by the director there.
So when did it play the nu metal? Because I don't really remember it.
It's throughout the run of the movie. It was usually when Satan was somewhere. Like, when he was walking through the hospital, it's playing like Korn in the background. Like, it kind of sounds like somebody's listening to it on like a boombox.
Okay.
The Limp Bizkit was like in a scene where like it was like on someone's radio. It was just all like kind of stuff that was getting played in the background. Now, I don't ever remember hearing Creed or I think it was like Everclear or whatever is on the soundtrack too. I never heard them. It was just Guns N' Roses, Limp Bizkit, and Korn were the only ones that I remember hearing during the run of the movie.
Yeah, I don't recall any of it, so I'll take your word for it.
Well, you better, because I examined this movie at a high level.
Yeah. I don't know, next week I'll be a little more prepared, because I have not watched Junior yet, so it'll be significantly more fresh than End of Days is. And we got to figure out what we're doing, because as I said at the beginning of the show, there's five weekends this month, so I don't know if we're going to do another Arnold film, or if we're going to do the last weekend to just reflect on Arnold. Like, I don't know what we would do with the last week.
We'll just reflect on him. I don't know. I guess we'll decide when we get there. We have been building up to Junior.
Yeah.
Like it was the big finale. So, I don't know. We will let the viewers decide. The listeners.
Yeah. Whatever No Star Reviews wants us to do.
Right.
Or maybe we'll talk about we'll look up another Arnold list, like the top 10 Arnold moments or whatever, or maybe do an Arnold Q&A of some kind. I don't know, we'll figure it out.
Right, yeah. Anyways, my verdict, End of Days, very misunderstood and underrated to me.
Yeah. I guess it could kind of be underrated just simply because it's been trashed so much. And again, I don't think it's the worst thing ever. Like, I still gave it 2 stars, which just means that, like, I didn't think it was that great, but it's not like I gave it, like, half a star or anything. Like, it still has some good moments in it. Arnold is still... Like, I don't think Arnold's bad in this movie. Like, he does a good job. As I said, Gabriel Byrne does a good job. The main girl... who plays Christine, she's alright. They don't give her much to do. But she's like a good actress.
She's nice to look at. She's pretty.
Yeah, I mean, she's a good actress. She was in The Craft a few years before this, so I mean, she knows
really?
Yeah, she's the main girl in The Craft.
Oh, so everybody was really excited when she briefly exposes her breasts in this movie.
Yes,
then.
Very pointless breast shot, but it is there nonetheless. It's like she just takes her shirt off and walks into the bathroom, and then that's it.
Right, and it's like from across the room, too.
Yeah.
It's like a very voyeuristic fucking shot of her exposing her breasts.
Yeah.
And you know I couldn't see anything.
Oh, of course.
VHS copy. It looked like anime tits when they don't draw the nipple on there.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't know, I would say, again, this is another one similar to, like, Collateral Damage. Like, if you are, like, a fan of Arnold and, like, you haven't checked it out yet, I'd say it's at least worth a watch at least once.
Okay, you gave Collateral Damage a higher score.
I gave it 2.5, a slightly better score. So.
This is on par with Hercules in New York for me.
Yeah.
I even considered bumping the score up, and I may I gave it 3 stars, which means that I liked it. It still doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to watch it again, but I think the 3 stars kind of means that, like, I may never watch it again, but I'm not grossly opposed to ever watching it again.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, with Collateral Damage, I gave it 2.5. Like, man, I really just don't ever see a point in me ever rewatching that movie. Whereas this movie, I think is fun enough to watch again.
Yeah. Hercules in New York, definitely fun enough to watch again. I'd pop that on any time.
This could go up to 3.5 sometime. George didn't have it rated on his letterbox, and I was always under the impression that he thought it was trash. I brought it to his attention because I wanted to know his score. I was like, George, you don't have End of Days rated on your letterbox. I don't? And he was like, well, he's like, I've only been rating movies that I watch when I'm on the treadmill. So whenever I rewatch it, I'm going to probably give it 4.5 stars.
Jesus Christ.
No, he's a little liberal with his rating system, but that told me that he really enjoyed it. And I was like, I just watched it. It was nowhere near as bad as I thought it was going to be. And he was like, dude, it's so good. I agree. I enjoy the movie. I think it's a fun movie. And I think that it's a movie that I've avoided for a long time. Because I don't want to hate Arnold movies. Like, if there's anything that is very consistent in my life, it's that I'm almost always satisfied at the end of an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
Yeah. Except for the few exceptions, and there might be
and the 2 times that happened, I hated it more than I hate it when I watch other bad movies. Like, if I watch another bad movie, I'm like, oh, yeah, it sucked. I might get mad, like, God, that was terrible, or whatever, but I'll get over it shortly after. But when it's fucking an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that's that offensively bad, it, like, sticks with me, and it just grossly offends me to the directors and the writers and the cast and the crew. Everyone except for Arnold is to blame for this.
Every single person.
Because I know Arnold. I know what he's capable of, and that is a 99.9% satisfaction rate for me.
Yeah. Ooh, one thing that I forgot to mention about Collateral Damage last week that I had written down on my notes, a little factoid. Bill Hader was Arnold's personal assistant on Collateral Damage.
Wait. Bill Hader.
From Trainwreck.
The Bill
The Bill Hader. I think it was Bill Hader. Hold on. Collateral Damage. I think it was. He was like an uncredited personal assistant to Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's what it said online.
Okay. That's interesting. Bill Hader, Collateral Damage.
I think it was Bill. It was someone.
In an interview on Howard Stern in 2014, actor Bill Hader admits to being Arnold Schwarzenegger's production assistant on Collateral Damage, although he was uncredited in the film.
Yeah.
He admits to it. Okay, stop. Bill Hader as an extra in a deleted scene of Collateral Damage.
Yeah. Oh, was he an extra?
3 or 4 hours, depending on the weather.
Wait, where the fuck was he? I don't know if I can.
We got 3 or 4 hours, depending on the weather.
Is he the guy saying 3 or 4 hours? Yeah, I guess he's the pilot.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Yeah. Interesting. Well, my wife has called me like 7 times, and she says
she's actually called me a few times as well.
I'm FaceTiming her right now. We're putting her on the show. See what she has to say. That's so important. And now she's not answering, of course. Typical. It's fine. Whatever. Guess she doesn't want to be on the show that bad, even though she's like, I need a guest appearance. And I was like, yeah, right, bro.
compelling content.
As always, very compelling content. I can't believe we've been going for almost 2 hours, bro.
Well, End of Days is a 2-hour movie, so we had to do it justice. And for nearly every minute in the movie, we had to donate like 30 seconds.
Yeah.
I don't think that math adds up, but
but it's fine. I mean,
we also spent a good amount of time just talking about random shit at the beginning of the episode.
Yeah, and
but
vacation
anyways,
and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's late. We've got stuff to do, and so let's sign off.
Yeah, so as always, if you guys haven't already, subscribe to the show wherever you're listening to it. Next week, we will be talking about Junior. The last week of January will be a mystery until we figure out what we're going to do. But next week, it'll be Junior, and look forward to getting Jared's little vacation trip updates and all that kind of stuff. So, should be an interesting episode next week. Yeah, so...
Yeah, the fucking... The climax, if you will, of Janu Arnold.
Yeah. So yeah, we will see you guys next week. This is Buddy the Bruiser signing out.
And this is Dynamite Jarrod. And I will catch your ass at the end of days.